How beautiful a woman can be if her kindness is her true beauty. Well, I welcome you all to yet another special episode of Seedhi Baat. I am your host Lovepreet Kaur and I welcome you with all the grace and positivity. I hope you all are doing well. Today in this episode we have a very special guest with us today and she will be talking about a very sensitive yet a special issue. She is Zarifa Amiri from Afghanistan and she will be addressing the topic of feminism and women empowerment with regard to the situation in Afghanistan. Well, she is a renowned speaker and she has been studying in India for a while now. The list of her achievements is very long and she has discussed some of them in her introduction. So do tune in to her introduction to know more about her. Right now, without any further ado, we'll start straight by asking Zarifa how is she doing in India, how is she liking India, and what's her opinion about women empowerment. So let's hear it from Zarifa Amiri. Let's welcome her with all the positivity. We will be hearing from her right now how is her experience here in India and what is her view about women empowerment in general.
Thank you so much, Lovepreet Kaur, for having me into this session. Let me talk about my experience in India. It has been like almost 4 years that I am staying in India with my brother. Me as a girl, as an Afghan girl moving from Afghanistan, coming in India for seeking of education, I'm feeling like truly blessed. I'm I'm thanking my family for keeping me alive and not killing me when I was a fetal, like others. You won't believe that in our country, girls are being considered as a dark spot into their families, and they are being buried alive just because they were born a girl. So me, I'm feeling really blessed and fortunate for being here and today talking about this amazing topic which is always special for me. And staying in India, I learned that yes, girls are also having voice. Girls are having skills. Girls are having power if they contribute into their society. And if they are given chance, they can bring lots of change like women and girls in India they are doing. And I am truly surprised by them that how greatly they have defined themselves by working hard, by proving themselves that yes, they are also part of this society. Woman empowerment means advocacy of women's right as the ground of equality in all aspects of life. It can be equality in social participant, it can be in economics aspect, and it can be in political area as well.
Thanks a lot, Zarifa, for giving such a wonderful remark about India and your experience with Indians and how you see Indian women as your inspiration. It's heartwarming to see how people who come from other countries to study here, to live a life here, to experience the tradition and culture, they're really inspired from the rich and beautiful culture of India. Well, I have one more question for you now. As you just mentioned that the situation of women in Afghanistan is not so good, I want you to initially shed more light on what exactly is the current situation of women there in Afghanistan. Has it improved from the past or is it still degrading? How are parents looking up to their girls? You are one of those who have come from Afghanistan. This means that your family is really supportive. They are supporting you for education and they have sent you abroad in another country to live your life. Just like you, we have had other guests on our podcast as well who came from Afghanistan and they were very well supported by their families, especially the females. Seeing this, I really feel that there is a paradigm shift and people are transitioning, they are modernizing. But still, I want to know from you what exactly is the situation right now and how would you compare the situation in the past and in the present?
Yes, there are some families and parents who are supportive towards their daughters and wants them to educate themselves, to improve their life, to build their future by themselves, which is truly blessed. But there are more families who are not allowing their daughters to step out of their house. There are some limits has been drawn by the male of that families, that they cannot cross that limits. They cannot go outside, they cannot fill the form, they cannot write their names into some public places which they needs to fill that forms. They cannot do that, but they are suffering from domestic violence, from forced marriages. They are not even allowed to go to a school, or even if they are going to a school, they are being drawback from the school just to get married at early stage, where they don't know the word of marriage, the word of the meaning of the word of husband, but they are being forced, and the future of these kids are being played by their parents. And this situation is worse in the villages of our country. And the girls who are living in the cities, they have been quite fortunate. At least they can read, they can write, they have the rights of filling the form of hospitals for the sick patients. For example, that sick patient can be a sister of that girl or a mother of that girl. They are having that rights, at least in the cities, but in villages they are suffering from lots of domestic violence, and they don't have a right to, you know, for example, if a man is saying that milk is black, that woman doesn't have the right to say no, this is white, even though she is seeing that the milk is white, but she cannot say it. She cannot have she doesn't have the voice to say it. In my country, there are three categories of women are existing. The first one is empowered woman. The second one is privileged woman, and the third one is underprivileged woman. Let me elaborate a little bit, three of them. The first one, empowered women. These women are the one who owe all the luxuries. They gain proper education, they are aware of their proper rights, and they can take a proper action towards their rights. If some violence happens towards their rights, they can do it. But the limits of this kind of woman existing in our country is very, very, very rare. The second one is privileged woman. The privileged woman is the one who owes the name of gaining education. They can gain education to some limits. As I mentioned before, the men, they draw some limits for them. They cannot, like, for example, the brother of that family is deciding for her to which standard she can study. For example, she can just study till 12 standard. She cannot go beyond that. And that is the privileged one. At least she can write, she can read, but she cannot stand for her rights. If she, in case, if she wants to stand for their rights, she has to give lots of sacrifices. For example, their family will not accept her anymore because just she has raised her voice. And the third one is underprivileged. And this category of women in my society are the poorest women who are living in the villages, and they don't have voice. They cannot stand for their rights. They cannot say, if even if something wrong is going in front of their eyes, they cannot raise their voice. As I mentioned, if a man says that milk is black, she cannot even say that no. She cannot even say no. Leave the elaboration of that, no, this is white, and this is white and all.
Zarifa, it's really sad to see how women are discriminated and treated in Afghanistan. I would say it's not just Afghanistan where this is happening. It's many regions across globe where women are not given the rights they deserve. They're not even allowed to live like humans. This is bad. I feel really sad right now that we just kill the talents before they are born. We suffocate women so much that they somehow give up on their dreams and aspirations, while the women is the one because of whom the cycle of world is running. In Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, there's a verse which says, "So kyo manda akhiye jit jamme rajan," which means why do we curse the woman who actually gives birth to all the kings and the gods? It's sad that the reality of the world is something gloomy, but at the same time, it's a positive thing that we are able to get the real insight as to what's happening in Afghanistan. It's time that we all face the bitter truth, and in the face of this challenge, all of us have some or the other solution ready, because let alone women empowerment, gender equity and gender equality is the primary concern, I feel. And that's where all of us are lacking. Thank you so much for being so truthful and sharing real insights with us. I'm really hopeful that this reality check is going to help us more with the discussion ahead. This brings me to my next question. There has been a constant rift between the American forces and Taliban for power in Afghanistan. We are all well aware of it. I want to know from you, how has this affected the social life of Afghanis? And do you really think that this rift has also contributed to the degrading condition of women in Afghanistan and gender discrimination that you are witnessing?
Before talking about the Taliban and American forces, I would like to highlight one golden time of Afghanistan where our woman was completely empowered at that time, and that was our King Amanullah Khan time, where women had their own voice, and every word of woman at that time was valuable, and the women at that time were able to take action for their rights if violence were going on. It was not only one woman or two women in our country, it was all over. But today, if our country is at this situation, it's just because of the Taliban. Because of the Taliban, our woman is suffering today in our country because they had put our woman in a dark spot. They They made the men to believe that women are made to be slave. But thanks to American forces, they came to our country. They brought a lots of opportunity for our women. They taught them to have voice. And if you are seeing today a leader in our government who is a woman, it's just because of those opportunities and because of their own courage as well. That they took that courage and they believed that American forces, there might be some political disadvantage for existing of Americans in my country, but I don't want to see at that point. Being of them in my country is a good luck for our Afghan women because once again they came to power, if not all, the minimum of them. As Gandhiji said, if you educate a man, he will educate one person. But if you educate a woman, she will educate a community. If the range of educated women today in our society is less, but I am pretty much confident and I am pretty much sure that this range is going to be more tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. But we are still hopeful that our women in my country will be empowered soon, and we must be thankful for the American forces because they have saved our women's life because they found their voice.
I really think that after listening to your answer today, a lot of misconceptions and assumptions in the minds of people, which builds up as a result of social media or media in general, will be clarified. You see, you're representing your country, and a person who's being so real about all the opinions can perfectly define how Afghanis feel about everything that has happened, especially this particular situation. So, thank you so much, Zarifa, for bringing the facts in front of us in such a positive and truthful manner. This brings me to my next question. As you discussed about three different sections of women in your country, the empowered, the privileged, and the underprivileged, I think you're one of those who comes under the empowered women. If not, you'll be in that category really soon. As a woman leader of your country, how do you picture women empowerment in Afghanistan? If you were given a chance to actually bring about some positive changes, what would they exactly be? Over here, I really want to see your creativity and your mindset, despite living in a country where you're not given many opportunities or maybe a lot of chances to work as a leader. I really feel that if you give us a clear picture of women empowerment in Afghanistan according to you, we can relate it with all the other regions where women empowerment is necessary. That includes India as well. And we will get some inspiration from it. So we are looking forward for this answer.
Thank you so much, Lovepreet. That's my pleasure to talk about Afghan women's situation in my country. And yet, I'm not counting myself as an Afghan leader, but I'm holding it as my responsibility. If I cannot change all Afghans women's situation, but at least I can change 1% of it. That's also enough for me. If every educated woman change 1% in my society, it will be a huge contribution. For example, if in a small village, out of 100, we educate only 10% of them, that 10% will educate their family, and their family will allow their future generation to get full education. And that will bring a huge change in our country. And I am deeply looking into this change, and I hope that one day I will be witness for this change. Today, I'm proudly saying that there are so many girls who are moving out of country for seeking education, for empowering themselves, for building their talent, and for becoming skillful, becoming a good leader. And that's a huge contribution in our society, and I am very proud of that. And those ladies are working hard to come back to their country and be useful to their country and work with the man equally, and to prove that yes, girls are also existing in this country, and these girls can change the society as well. And I'm very proud of that.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. Education has the power to eradicate all sorts of social evils existing in the society. And of course, education has the power to change the condition of women in Afghanistan as well. Just like you said, so many women from Afghanistan who have spread across the globe to seek education, to seek job opportunities, or for social welfare. I think all of them are an asset to Afghanistan, and they are going to return back and change the picture of this country. But of course, we cannot just depend on them. We need to educate the children, the girl children in the country as well. Their upbringing has to be taken care of. Their families have to be educated and made aware of the importance of women empowerment and how independence is important for every human being. Well, this is quite a task, and especially a task for the people of Afghanistan, for young leaders like you who aspire to see their country rising and growing even more. Well, I think we have discussed quite a lot about the condition of women in some sections of the society, especially in Afghanistan. We have discussed how education is one of the methods in which the situation can be improved. We have talked about gender inequality and how women empowerment is very important for our society in general. But I have another question for you here. I'm sure you must have heard about the word feminism. It's a popular word these days. I really seek your attention towards answering my question. Is this word worth the hype? Before we proceed for Zarifa's answer, I need to make a note here. I myself am a woman, and Zarifa is a woman as well. So both of us cannot be against feminism, but I really feel there is a need to understand this term in a broader aspect. Because what's happening with this term these days is disastrous. According to me, we need to know the real meaning of feminism and act accordingly. Also, no one better than a woman who has come out from the environment which is so suffocating and it's hard for women to even make their identity over there can explain it better. I mean, she is the one who has come out of this pipeline, this flux, and has managed to be a young leader. So I think she can very well define this term, at least for all of us to understand what, in broader sense, feminism is and what it is not. Over to you, Zarifa. I want you to give me an elaborate answer for this. Your opinion about feminism, what true feminism is, and how are we confusing feminism with a disaster?
According to me, feminism means advocacy of women's right on the ground of equality, equality in social activities, in economic contribution and political area. Women has to be treated equally as men in a society to contribute in these all areas, to not discriminated based on their gender, to have the freedom of participating freely on these areas based on their talent. That is what feminism is about. But today, for example, if a lady is wearing something and if someone pass a comment, then she will bring the word feminism. That is not feminism, that is your personal preference. And that wearing of your clothes is your personality, it's your personal preference. Feminism is a movement to equal right for women in a society, but today women themselves they have wrongly used the word feminism to their own advantage. That's the reason there are some male who are against this term. That's why this word feminism has been misused and most of people are hating this term.
As far as I think, feminism is more of an emotion and less of a word or a movement. I agree with Zarifa when she says that feminism means a share in the society, a word that probably screams of life for women in the world where women are not given equal rights and opportunities. In a country like India, a lot of laws, rights, and privileges have been offered to women in order to protect them against all the social evils that they become a target of, which is a great thing. And in all the democratic nations, this is the same case. But I feel these days we are not aware of the fact that the rights and privileges come with duties as well. And the most important duty involved is to understand your right and to use it correctly. It's just that we cannot conveniently use these rights and privileges and the word feminism to define anything that falls under the category of harassing or bullying someone. To quote an example, the boys' locker room scene in India was one of the instances where I felt feminism has to be redefined. I don't know how many of you would agree with me on this, but I feel we all women especially, need to rethink about this term feminism. Is it really concerned with how we talk, how we walk, how we dress, how we deal with the society, what friend circle we choose, how we socialize? No, I don't think so. All of these, just like Zarifa said, are personal preferences, and they're also dependent upon what kind of a society you're living in. Given all of that, to get an equal share in all the aspects, including the economic aspect of a country, the political aspect of a country, the social aspect of a country, is the feel of feminism. It's not criticizing everything and everyone because you're a woman. No. Probably that way we are showing ourselves to be weak. While saying that we want to walk equal to men, we want to stand and match their shoulders, we want to work and earn equally, we are capable of earning respect for the country, being women. I feel if we just use this term feminism to probably hide our insecurities, that would be wrong. We would be portraying ourselves as weak girls and weak individuals that way. So, thanks a lot for the wonderful answers, Zarifa. I really hope that this allows us to rethink on this term and really use it for the purpose it was meant to use. Now that we have talked quite a lot about issues related to women and women empowerment, let's talk about the practical examples of women empowerment. I want to ask from you, Zarifa, how women are trying to break stereotypes by starting new businesses, starting new initiatives in Afghanistan. And how do you think it can break the image of Afghan women as dominated by males? If you could quote an example or give your opinion on this, it would be great.
The Afghan woman has changed the idea of stereotypes, and they by the huge participation of them into some organization, some non-profitable organization, and by going there, by participating into social activities. For example, I can give one of them. The AKDN is one of the famous organization in Afghanistan, which is working towards the women empowerment and the men and the main focus of this organization is to advance women empowerment by increasing social and economic participation of women in 36 districts of Afghanistan, which is a plus point for Afghan women. And also there is a huge participation from their sides as well into this program as well. And this program is training women in market driving, vocational skills, and business management and entrepreneurship. And they are building their skills because Afghan women are very skillful, and they are very famous for their handicraft. So they are training them for that. And they are also holding some literacy classes for the women who are illiterate, and trying to make them educate, and opening some libraries for them. And uh, and also some teachers are also sending for them to help in the villages which they cannot travel far away from their houses. So I think this is a positive view overall for Afghan women. And nowadays we are having some famous Afghan girls who are entrepreneur, and who are famous in the world for being a leader and also a businesswoman as well. And I think that's a plus point for our society.
Thank you so much, Zarifa, for sharing about all these creative and valuable insights and initiatives that have been taken to empower women in the field of business administration and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is one of the fastly emerging trends across globe, and I think all the women who have ideas, who have the ability to start something new, they should be exploring this domain even more. They should be exploring all these initiatives, and this is a good way of introducing opportunities to Afghani women who have the skill. Just like Zarifa said, if you have the skill, then you should never sell it for free. You should definitely use it to earn a living and to earn a reputation in society. Thanks a lot for sharing this positive aspect, Zarifa. This brings me to my next question. What do you think is the future of women in politics? Do you really think that democracy is going to improve on the condition of women in Afghanistan? And is it hopefully going to add to women empowerment? I want to know your view on this.
Democracy is playing a huge role for empowering a woman not only in Afghanistan but in all over the world. And today, luckily, we are having young Afghan women leaders who are into politics and they are working hard towards adding acts into Afghan law, towards uh, towards empowering Afghan women and yes, the future of Afghan ladies into politics is also bright, and hopefully, we will be having soon uh, more leaders, Afghan women into politics as well.
Thank you so much, Zarifa, for sharing with us such wonderful insights and for sparing your valuable time. We're really grateful to have you on our platform. I think you have very beautifully described all the issues and underlying challenges faced by the women of Afghanistan, and then you have also given a very optimistic outlook towards the situation by introducing them with opportunities that they might have not known that it's available for them. This is not just for the women of Afghanistan, but I think you have definitely inspired the women of the world. The way you touched on sensitive issues like women empowerment, gender inequality, discrimination, and then also the true essence of feminism is commendable. Thank you so much for sharing your views on all these situations and giving all of us some real inspiration. I think your country would be really proud of you because you are representing them in a very nice manner, and all the women of the world congratulate you for being a strong woman and for coming out, expressing your views, and being the future, the bright future of Afghanistan. So, Zarifa, to wrap up this session, I think there's nothing better than your message for youth. If you had to give one piece of advice to the youth of the world who's listening to you right now and the women of Afghanistan, what would that message be?
Thank you so much, Lovepreet Kaur, for having me into this session and inviting me into this amazing platform to be the voice of Afghan women. And my message to the new generation and the youth of Afghan and other world is let's treat women to feel special. I believe that if God has created us, definitely, He has given every individual a special skills. Leave the woman to prove that they are also skillful and they are also useful and they can contribute into this world. And let's treat them as a human being, despite of their gender. Let's not discriminate them based on their gender. Let's not look down to the woman because they are very powerful and they are multi talented. Thank you so much.
That is very well said, Zarifa. At the end of the day, everything boils down to humanity. Let's all look at each other with a humanitarian aspect. Let's identify each other as coexisters. Let us not discriminate between women and men because, come on, today even the women are making us proud. They are making their countries proud. They are making their families proud. They are transforming the future of communities. Let's respect them. I cannot thank you enough for adding so much value to our campaign, Zarifa. I really hope that your speech motivates everyone to become better humans, to become youth leaders who will guide the future generations in the right way. I really hope women will rethink about feminism and they will prove themselves to be a stronger section of society. Thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning with us. Do keep supporting us and do support the youth leaders who are educating and inspiring you to become better humans. We will see you in the next episode of Seedhi Baat. Till then, I'm Lovepreet Kaur signing off. Bye bye.